Hi everybody and welcome back to my kitchen. I'm so excited today. I have been invited to Grandparents' Day at the school tomorrow and I'm so excited. I just can't wait. It's my first Grandparents' Day and I have to make some cakes and take some flowers. So I've no idea what to make. I've got no friends that are grandparents. I'm the only one. So I really don't know what to do. So I thought, well, I'll make what my grandmother made when she came to my school, which was those tiny little butterfly cakes. They had orange cream inside of them with little butterflies on the top that you cut. That's what I'm going to try and attempt to do today with my basic cupcake recipe. But I don't have an orange, and I thought, well, not everybody likes oranges, so I'm going to do vanilla. I'm just going to do vanilla butterfly cakes. I don't have a recipe other than my basic cupcake recipe, so I'm going to go with that and just wing it with me. It's been a bit of a crazy morning in the kitchen. I've had granola on the go. I've had to make some marmalade cupcakes because we didn't have any left. And I've got some yogurt going. I've got the washing machine on. And now I've got to do these butterfly cakes for Grandparents' Day tomorrow. So I've worn this shirt today as a bit of a test run, and I know it needs a little bit of an iron, but this is what I'm going to wear tomorrow. I thought it was a bit granny. It's got some little flowers on it, and it's a granny print. I think it is. It's a granny shirt. So this is what I'm wearing. I've had a quick haircut, so I went and I've cut my own hair. So I've been doing that this morning as well. Bit of a wash, bit of a haircut, bit of a trim. So I'm all set to go. So let's hope these cupcakes turn out. So let's start with our basic cupcake recipe. The first thing we're going to do is pop this oven back on. It's already hot because it's just been running hot this morning. So I'm going to put that at 180. Now I've got some butter here that has been sitting out. Now my recipe says 1/3 cup. I don't know how much that is. I'm assuming that's 125 grams of softened butter. So that's what I'm going to go with. It's my own recipe and I can't remember it. I think I said 1/3 cup to make it a little bit easier for people that don't have scales, but I like to weigh everything. So I'm just going to go 125 grams. We'll say that's the conversion. I feel like I've given myself plenty of time. If these don't turn out, then I can do a second run in amongst everything else I've got going on. Crazy times in the kitchen with me sometimes. So I've melted my butter. Now to that I'm going to add any other liquid I want. I'm not going to add my vanilla just yet. I'm just going to add some milk. Now when I'm doing all of my baking, I just have the UHT milk because we drink a lot of coffee. We go through a lot of cow's milk. So I keep this one on hand for all my baking. So I don't know how much that was. It says it's about 1/3 cup, and then just put a little bit of vanilla. I'm thinking about a teaspoon. So I feel like Grandparents' Day for me is a real honour. 1 3/4 cups of just all-purpose flour, plain flour. So I've got my 1 3/4 cups of plain flour. Now to that I'm adding 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now I'm not sifting or anything, you know me. Just bang it together. Hey, it works. It works every time. I say that and these better work. Give that a mix. Now I know we need a pinch of salt. So just a 2-finger pinch and then 3/4 cup of caster sugar. I always use caster sugar. Okay, that's our dry ingredients. Back to the wet. Now to this I'm just going to add 2 eggs. Is it 2 eggs or 3? No, 2 eggs. In go our egg. So I don't know if I'm really excited for Grandparents' Day or if I'm really nervous. I think I might be really nervous. So our family is no different to anybody else's. We're a bit of a combined lot. So when Steve and I met, he already had his 2 girls and I already had my little one. So when we came together, we had 3 girls. Still got 3 girls. Now, I don't like the step girls, and I just don't like it. It's just not something for me. So I've never used the step word. I've always said my girls, and the girls love that. They've never been identified as different to anybody other than mine, and now just stir them together. And I think I've got everything. I think I'll just have a quick double check that I've put everything in. I don't want to stuff these up. So it was funny when the girls were growing up. Steve and I'm just going to put some more milk in that. We ran our own business, and the middle one worked with us there for a little while. And people used to come in and say, "Oh, you look like your mum. Oh, you look like your mum." Meaning me, of course. And she used to sit there and lap it up, knowing full well that she couldn't possibly look like me because she's not mine. But she is mine. I shouldn't say that, and I would never feel like that because she is mine. She's got enough love for us all to share, and she's a beautiful girl. But it was just funny. It was just really funny to see her. Oh yeah, I look like my mum. So it was a real honour to be invited to Grandparents' Day because they do have 2 lots of grandparents and we're the 3rd. So it was such an honour to be invited, and we were asked. The little 6-year-old, he's like, "Oh, well, because I'm Melly and Steve's Pop. Not Poppy, he's Pop. So I'm Melly and Steve's Pop." And Melly was asked. And apparently there's a poem. So he's written a poem for me or about me, or apparently it's a little bit disjointed, so I have to be really surprised, which I will anyway. I will love anything like that, you know what I'm like. So I've got my batter. It's looking really good now. I've got that pretty thick. I'm thinking I want these to be a little bit dense. I might just turn my oven down. I think I've changed my mind. I think I want them to cook a little bit slower. I didn't prepare my cupcake tray, so I'm just going to do that. So I think I'm organised. We've got to make sure we get there on time. We're walking to school. There's a school assembly. I have to drop my cakes off at the canteen along with my flowers. Oh, I hope we get to sit on the little chairs. Don't you love that when you go back to the little kindy classes and you squeeze your big adult bum on those tiny little chairs? Oh, I love that. Oh, I love it. So I'm so excited, but I think I'm nervous. So let me know, what did you make for your first Grandparent Day? What did you go to? What was it like? What did you do? Was there a fail? Oh. I think I get nervous that I'm going to say something stupid or laugh too loud. I laugh, and I've got that outburst laugh that is louder than everyone else's when it starts. I'm the ha. So I tell myself, don't do that. Don't do that at the poor little kid's school. Laugh like a seagull. But I do get excited, so I've got to just tone it down a bit. Maybe the shirt's a bit too loud. Maybe it's egging it on. Steve's out in the shed today, no wonder, with me in the kitchen like this. He probably thinks, oh my God, what a nightmare, I'm staying out of that. Yeah, I don't blame him. So I reckon I'm going to do, what do you reckon, about 3/4 full. Let's do 3/4 full. Well, there you go. It made exactly 12. I didn't need the second tin. That lady was right with her cupcake recipe. It makes exactly 12. In the oven, and then I'm going to set my oven timer for about 15 minutes. I'm going to keep an eye on them because I don't want these to brown too much. I don't think kids like things that are browned like I like them. So I'm going to try and keep them a little bit light. So I've just put them on my middle shelf in my oven. Not too close to the bottom, not too close to the top. 15 minutes oven timer. I make the big announcement that I'm putting the timer on and then I don't put it on. Now, to save me dropping it on the floor this time, I'll stick it on my oven. Okay, I'm just going to pop out to the garden and pick a few more flowers to go with my other peonies. I thought I'd put some that aren't as opened, and hope they're a hit. They smell divine. So they've had 20 minutes in the oven. I set my oven timer for 15 minutes and then I went another 5 minutes after I'd turned them. Now, the reason I put them on the middle is because I didn't want the tops to brown too much. I really think kids enjoy pale things rather than the darker colour. And then I've decided I'm going to make a vanilla buttercream frosting that I'll pipe into the centre of them and then pop the little butterfly tops on. But I'm going to let those cool completely, at least half an hour, maybe longer. I'll come back when we're ready to frost. I'll start sifting the icing sugar. More mess. My cupcakes have had a chance to cool, so now we can make our buttercream. Now I've just got 125 grams of butter. So 125 grams of softened butter, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of icing sugar, and I'm going to use my appliance today, this little thing. I know, I've got to remind myself, keep it in the bowl when your finger's on the button. So I'm going to use this, and it's going to make a bit of noise, so I won't talk during that. So I've got an older Pyrex bowl here that I don't mind if it gets a little bit scratched. I don't use my appliances in my number 2 bowl because it just scratches it and leaves those dark scratch marks on the bottom of it, and I just try and avoid it if I can. So I've got an older bowl that I don't mind if it gets a little bit scratched. So I'm just going to blend this up a little bit and then start adding some icing sugar, and then I'm just going to wing it a little bit. I've got some milk here and some vanilla, and I'm just going to add things until I think it's good. The reason I'm going with the buttercream is because I want to make them today, and I'm just going to sit them out in a container and then take them in the morning. If I put fresh cream or anything in them, they're just going to flop overnight, and I don't have time to do it in the morning because we have to travel a little bit. So I'll start whipping this up, and then we'll start adding some icing sugar, and hopefully I just don't make too much mess. I can see where this is headed. I probably should have got out the KitchenAid, but anyway, I'll see how I go. So as I'm whipping up my cream, I'm starting to have doubts as to whether I've selected the right recipe for the occasion. I'm assuming that taking a plate of food means taking a plate of food is enticing to the children. I didn't think it was for the adults. But imagine if it was for the adults and I turn up there with pretty little butterfly cakes and everybody else has things like beautiful caramel slice and, ooh, I hope I'm doing the right thing with butterfly cakes. I hope it's supposed to be kiddie. Well, I'm committed now. I'm whipping up my butter until it starts to lighten in colour, and then I'm going to add a little bit of milk. We don't want to keep making more butter, so just add a little bit of milk. That was probably a tablespoon, I'd say. And then I'm just going to mix that through to just thin out my butter a little bit. So that was 1 tablespoon of milk, and I can see that that's still really thick. So I'm going to add another tablespoon. Or I think that was a little bit more. And then we'll just blend that again. So when you first start combining your milk in your butter, it really doesn't look like it's going to combine. But it does, and it lightens in colour, and it's starting to look like icing already. Now I'm going to start adding some icing sugar. So I'll pop in a good 2 spoonfuls of icing sugar and then pop it on low. Oh, you cringe, don't you? That's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to combine it, and then once it's combined, add a little bit more icing sugar, a little bit more icing sugar, and I might need to add a little bit more milk. I'm just going to keep an eye on it. Keep in mind we're making an icing, not a cream. I want this to set and last. I want it to have a more sugary shelf life than I do a butter. Now don't let me forget to add that vanilla. So I've got all of my icing sugar in. So we've got 125 grams of butter, 4 or 5 or a quarter of a cup of milk. And now I'm going to add some vanilla extract. Now I'll probably put a good teaspoon of this because I want it to be vanilla-y. A good teaspoonful. And mix that through. Now I'm going to turn my speed up on this now and really whip it up and see if I can get it to go nice and pale. Okay, my buttercream is all whipped and I think that's perfect. Now I ended up adding another half a cup of icing sugar. So to 125 grams, I've added 2.5 cups of icing sugar and that big dollop of vanilla extract. And don't forget we added a quarter of a cup of milk. So once you're happy with that, which if you tasted that, you'd be happy with it. So I'll just get rid of this without making too much mess, and then we'll pop that into a piping bag. I'm just using a freezer bag for this. I'm just putting it in one corner. Now I am mindful that freezer bags are really thin. And you can't squeeze too hard when you use them, otherwise they'll pop and it'll go everywhere. So if you have a piping bag, you get your piping bag out. So I'll get this into this little bag and then we'll start making some holes in our little cakes. Now I don't really remember how to do this. I'll just grab a knife. I'll just get a little knife. Now my memory of it is that we just go around and take out like a diamond shape. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm just going to pop my knife in. Oh, this is terrifying. And then, oh, better go deeper. Mine are going to crack. And then I'm just going to take out this little, oops, I've gone a bit crooked. I'm just going to take out that little piece. Oh, my butterflies. So I've taken out a little piece like that, and when I hold it up like that, to me that looks like a little diamond. No hiding if your cupcake's cooked or not. Beautiful. Now that's working a treat. Now because they're vanilla, I think they're going to look a little bit plain. So they're going to look very white, aren't they? Now, as I said before, Steve and I have our 3 girls. And so we haven't had boys. So our first little grandbaby was a boy. And it's quite new to me because I'm used to making everything really pretty and pink. And no, he doesn't like that. He likes plain. He likes dinosaurs and trucks. And so that's right up Steve's alley. But like any little boy, he's easily distracted and he has a lot of energy. So he has been labelled a little bit naughty, but aren't we all? Look, he'll grow out of it. But at school, apparently he's really, really good. So I'm so keen to see him in his school environment. I think he's going to be an absolute little angel. Made a bit of a mess of that one, but we'll work it out. Icing sugar. We sprinkle icing sugar on the top of these, and I think it'll fix anything. Maybe I selected the wrong recipe, but anyway, we're committed. We're going for it. They'll look cute. Look, anything homemade I think is just lovely. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe no one makes homemade things to take to these things anymore. Maybe I should have stopped at the bakery. I have them all done. They're looking really good. Now I'm just going to have a quick look in my stash and see if memory serves me. When I made that gluten-free birthday cake, I'm sure I had some little icing bees or something in there. So I'm just going to have a quick look and see what I've got. Oh, I did. I've got these little bees. So maybe we'll stick one of those on the top and we'll pretend that they're bee cakes, not butterfly cakes. Let's see what they look like. God knows what they are. Oh, okay, we've got little bees. So that might work really well. We've got lots of them. And they might just give it a little bit more pop. So I can, anyway, let's start piping. We've got a lot of icing. So if you make this recipe, halve it again. Like that's a lot of cream in there. I'll have to make another cake with all this icing. Now we want a nice, generous, dollop. So now let's make our little butterfly. And then we just put them in like this, don't we? We'll push them down in a little bit. And then we'll have our little butterfly cake. They look like a butterfly to me. So all my butterflies are on, and now I'm going to sprinkle them with icing sugar. And then I've found my little bees, and they don't have any wings on them, so I'm thinking that I'm going to put a little bee on the top of each little cake. I think that'll look nice. But I don't want to sprinkle these with icing sugar, so let's sprinkle with icing sugar first. See how much mess. I'll just pop this, actually, I'll do it over my other bowl. And then just give them a lovely little, or not that much. Now, it probably looked like I overdid the icing on a few of those, But remember, I said I'm taking these tomorrow, and some of that icing is just, that icing sugar is going to settle in and dissolve. So now I'm just going to go along and I'm just going to glue a little bee on each cake. So there's our 12 little cakes, all done, all with little bees. I'll leave these sit on the counter for a little while, and then I will pop them in the fridge. They will firm up a little bit, ready to travel tomorrow. So wish me luck for Grandparent Day. In the meantime, take care, and I'll see you next time.